Hello everyone and welcome to another channel. So this particular, another channel, yes, welcome. If you're new, welcome. Uh, so welcome to another video is what I had originally meant to say. Welcome to another video. This one, so I found some books that I want to read that take place at some point in California. I've been to California, not a lot of places. I have been to San Diego when I was in, ninth grade? Is it just San Diego that I've been to? San Diego and the area that's like Disneyland is in. And that's pretty much all. Oh, and Universal Studios. Obviously as a kid, that's, that's where I was taken. So I have not seen much. I do remember my favorite part of that trip was not Disneyland. Definitely not SeaWorld. My favorite part was, I think it's called Seaport Village in California. As I've said before in other videos, I love the sea. I love the water. I love books that take place on water, in water, near water. And the smell of the sea, it was very cool and I loved it. That was my favorite part. That's what I remember most is Seaport Village. And I would like to go back. So anyway, let's talk about 5 books that I have found, that I have added, that I am intrigued by, that I want to read. These books take place, at least in part, in California. Now, keep in mind, I can't recommend them because I have never read them. So I have them written down so that I can read these and then hopefully in the future come back and say, okay, I read these and here's what I actually thought. And then my goal is to also read some additional books that take place in California, and then say, these are better, or here's just some additional books. So that's ultimately my goal with this series, with the states, the countries, everything that I'm doing with these. So that's my goal. It's just a matter of getting to the point where I can read these books and obtaining these, whether through the library or whatever. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into these books. So number 1, so I'm going to try and insert some images right here. I think that's the best space for it. Anyway, so number 1 is East of Eaden, and this is by John Steinbeck. This is a fiction and it's a classic, as you probably already knew, by John Steinbeck. East of Eaden. So this one takes place, it says, in California's Salinas Valley. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. Salinas Valley. So basically, East of Eaden is a retelling of the book of Genesis with the fall of Adam and Eve. So we're following 2 families, the Tresks and the Hamiltons. So not only is this a retelling of the fall of Adam and Eve, it's also a retelling of the whole issue with Cain and Abel. So I don't know how much scripture references are in these. So if that is not your thing, you may want to avoid this. I don't know. But I think it sounds interesting. So it's a fictionalized retelling of that from the Bible, of the book of Genesis. So we'll see what happens with that. The next book is also from John Steinbeck. So another classical fiction. Anyway, and this one's called The Grapes of Wrath. So number 2 is The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. Now, this one I'm more interested in than East of Eden. That one kind of is a little more intimidating to me. But Grapes of Wrath I really want to read. Partly because this is a retelling of, like, in America in the 1930s. I do think it said Oklahoma in the description. I can't remember. But it's a retelling of the 1930s migration due to the Dust Bowl that took place. Obviously, there are many hard times that people have experienced. There's, in this book, it says that there's conflict between people that are powerful and those that are powerless. So you're going to have some kind of a power struggle. And the Great Depression is also going to be a part of this book. And why I want to read this book is because my grandma was born in the 1930s. She lived in Oklahoma and lived through the Dust Bowl and obviously the Great Depression as a little child. So to me, this has a little bit more just of a special meaning. I am interested in this. My grandma has not talked about her experience, possibly because she was a little child and doesn't remember this happening. I'm inclined to think that, but she's also not inclined to really talk about her past anyway. So, that's my grandma. So, but Grapes of Wrath, I really want to get to that one. Okay. So anyway, the Dust Bowl migration, the reason why this one's on the California list is even though it might start in Oklahoma, at one point it will be in California because they're migrating to California to try and find that new life. That's what I understood from the synopsis that came up on Goodreads. So hence why this is on the books that take place in California. At some point that should be in California. Okay. Book number 3 is called California Girls, and this is by Susan Mallery. Now this one is an adult romance chick lit. This one sounds really good. So it's a story of 3 sisters, and their lives, all 3 of them, tend to fall apart. It seems like around the same time. One of them is married, and their spouse revealed that he has had an affair. So there's a falling apart there. The other one is engaged, and the wedding is called off. So there's that. The third one is in a relationship, and there's a breakup. Now this third one that goes through the breakup with the boyfriend is also kind of willing to be a surrogate to carry a baby for her best friend. So we're going to kind of see some of that, and as they kind of work together and try and go through things and cope with things and change things and try and rebuild their life. And it sounds really cute. So I'm excited for this one. I look forward to this one. Okay. Number 4. See, so now I'm saying I'm going to put the cover of the book here, and yet my hand is over here. Number 4? Number 4? There we go. Loose Ends by D.D. VanDyke. When I hear the word VanDyke, I think Dick Van Dyke. That's done a lot of acting. D.D. VanDyke. So this one's a mystery thriller. I don't know if this is adult or young adult. I am going to assume it's an adult because the characters are adult, or we're following the perspective of adult characters is what it sounds like. Now, Loose Ends is the first in a series called California Crown P.I. for private investigators, and it's the first in a 5-book series. This one, there's a girl that's kidnapped, and then you have this lady who's an ex-cop from San Francisco that goes by the name of Cal. And for whatever reason, she must find this girl that was kidnapped. And then throughout the book, you have, did it say lurking? Yeah, you have lurking crime lords. Multiple. It meant plural, multiple. So you have crime lords lurking around. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 5th and final book. These videos tend to be fairly short. So anyway, number 5 is called Letter Perfect, and this is by Cathy Marie Hake, I'm guessing. And this is a historical Christian fiction. So if you don't like Christian fiction, obviously this is one you'll want to skip out on. But I don't mind Christian fiction. I actually kind of like it sometimes. Anyway, this is following mostly Ruth. Now, this sounds like it will be a humor or a comedy kind of historical Christian fiction because Ruth has a big mouth. Ruth also has feet that keep tripping her up. Now, whether that's literally or figuratively, I don't know, but she keeps messing things up, evidently. She's evidently Ruth's mother has high expectations for her, and Ruth fails those expectations and has obviously less than desirable results. Now, whether by people involved. So there's that. And then enters John McCain. Now he sees Ruth, and not only does he think Ruth is pretty, but evidently Ruth is kind of rolling in the money. She's evidently well off, and he's attracted to her money because he there's this risk of losing the family farm, and obviously it's due to financial reasons. And so not only is he attracted to Ruth's beauty, but he's attracted to her wealth as well. However, it does state that Ruth's life starts to take a bad turn. It says sinister, so it takes a sinister turn. And then the main question is if John is going to stick around or if he's going to hightail it out of there. So there we go. That is Letter Perfect. Yes, Letter Perfect. Yeah. So those are the 5 books that I want to read that take place in California. Do you have a favorite book that you like that takes place, at least in part, in California? If you do, let me know in the comments, because I would definitely like to check it out and see if that's something I would like to read as well. So again, I will have the title of these books and the author of the books listed in the description box. You will also find my social media information and other platforms there as well. So until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.